So how did I end up using Vim and how I learned it faster? Well, the reason is this. Notice anything different with this keyboard? It's those keys that move the cursor in our editor. Yes, you're right. The arrow keys. This keyboard model has no arrow keys. So my Linux laptop, which I mainly use for programming, has aged for some time now. And the first one that started to fail was its keyboard. So I went to buy a new mechanical keyboard from a local shop because I've been already using mechanical keyboards for my PC and I really liked it, so I plan to get another one, a more compact one without numeric keypads. When I got home, I opened it, plugged it in my laptop and was about to crank out some codes. But yeah, then later I found out that I've gotten a different model, a much more compact one without the arrow keys. Arrow keys that I heavily use in programming. Hey everyone, and welcome back. Mark Deal here, and in this video, I'm gonna share how I got myself into a situation where I forced myself into learning Vim, and it was not a bad idea after all. This was actually one of the best decisions I had in my career to learn and use Vim and add it on my toolset. I mean, since I'm using Linux for development, I certainly have used Vim to adjust some configurations, but at the most is I just learned how to edit a line and how to exit out of that thing. I'll also share some of the cool things I discovered when using Vim, and maybe that could encourage you to try it out and learn it if you haven't yet already. But if you're already a Vim user, or maybe a pro Vim user, then thanks for checking out this video and supporting a fellow Vim user. What is Vim? Vim is just a text editor, a powerful text editor, which has now been passed down to our IDEs, which makes the power more accessible for all developers. It's easily available on VS Code and JetBrains IDEs, which I both use. Why do I call it power? This is because you'll feel powerful after you have successfully issued some commands that you won't be able to easily do without Vim. Vim enables you to give out commands to your keyboard. Most of these commands are not available in your current IDEs. One of its features is keeping your fingers in the home keys, meaning you move less, but you can do a lot more. Like for traversing code, instead of using the arrow keys, you can use HJKL or brackets to move per block of code instead of scrolling through your mouse. Of course, there are some IDE shortcuts, but the thing is that these shortcuts are not easily reachable and could interrupt how you code. Like by default, going to the end of the line, you can press End key, or home key if you want to go at the start of the line, but I'd probably need to take a look at the keyboard because I'm not used to pressing these keys and it's quite far from the home keys. Where in Vim, you could just press Shift-I to insert at the front and Shift-A to insert at the end. So how did I learn Vim? How did I force myself to learn it? So let's go back to the previous situation. So I have this brand new keyboard without arrow keys. Is there still a way for me to code and use this? I mean, I like how compact it really is. That's the time Vim went into my mind. I remember how I frustratingly used this before. Like when I was pressing HJKL, the cursor just moves away up and down, left or right, and I didn't even know that I was still in command mode. And this often happens when I was trying to edit some files in some local Linux servers or in the cloud servers where they're using Linux and the IDEs are not available. But it's not just deciding to learn it. What added up is I usually have a lot of projects going on, and by switching to Vim all of a sudden would really cripple my productivity. And another important thing was that I was a hybrid typist back then. I can type to the keyboard real fast, but my fingers are not locked onto specific keys. But to help me learn Vim easier, I know I needed to learn touch typing. How did I then proceed? So first I checked the keyboard on how I can use the existing arrow keys. Because there were arrow keys really, but it was on a second function, meaning that I need to press another key in order to make it work. But hey, that would help me on my first week while I'm still learning touch typing. Next, I needed to be a touch typist. So I gave myself a few days to learn this, and with the help of this website, typingstudy.com, they have these lessons that I could just follow. So every day after my freelance work, I try to beat a few lessons and do some repeats because the second or third repeat will really help build your muscle memory. So when I was confident enough on my touch typing after a few days of practice, I know I needed to jump straight into using Vim. because using the second function arrow keys was a real pain. I installed Vim on my JetBrains IDEs and on my VS Code, so there's no turning back now. So I'm now using Vim, and I have a cheat sheet open on my second monitor. I first just started with the basic features, just to be able to move around, edit, insert, and delete code was the priority. Never mind yet the fancy features, what I need was to be able to use the keyboard properly and produce codes for my projects. But as I started to get familiar with Vim, I started to ask for more. And the more I know about it, the more happy I was with the decision to have learned it. And here are the stuff that I learned that I wanted to share as well, and some of the things here are really cool. Okay, first I'm gonna show some code reversals. So you can start with Shift G to go to the bottom of the file, then GG to go up back to the start. You can also traverse by skipping block of codes with brackets, closing and open brackets. So close to go down, and then open brackets to go up again. Next is to scroll down faster with Control F, and to scroll up faster with Control V. I think these are the equivalent of page up and page down. Next we have this shift high, shift medium, and shift low movement. So if I press Shift L, it goes down to the bottom of my screen. If I press Shift H, it goes up to the top of my screen, but not totally to the top. And if I press Shift M, it goes to the middle of the screen. So that's Shift H, Shift M, and Shift L. Next is the sort command. So I have here an example of CSS attributes. So if we want to sort them alphabetically, first we'll need to select them. Let's enter visual mode. I'm using line visual mode to affect all the lines here, and then colon, sort, enter. Now it's sorted. You could also use it in your variables, let's say. So enter visual mode, select them all, then colon, sort. There we go. Next, if you want to go to the character that we want in a line, we can press F, then 1 to go here, or T1 to go to the character before 1. So that's F%. So I got here. Go back, then T% to go to the character before %. Next, we can use the percentage key to get to the matching curly brace. So for example, we have this big loop here. So I'm gonna go down. You see, it's kind of a out of loop, and you're like getting lost on which for loop is this. Then you can just press percentage, and it'll be matched to the proper brace. So go down and %, go here, % to go back. Next, we can use the tilde key to change casing of words. So if we have this lowercase, for example, and you want to change them to uppercase, then you can select them first and then tilde. Another one, welcome back, select them first, tilde. Then if we have this all caps words and you want to change back to lowercase, then just select them again, tilde, welcome back, tilde. Next, we can use I to indicate inner or inside. For example, this one, we want to delete the words inside the quotation, so we can use DI quotation, so delete inside quotation. Another one, so delete inside quotation. I could also use it inside tags. So if I want to delete the word test here inside span, so I don't need to get inside of span, I can just say delete inside tags here, so DIT. And then if we want to delete the div and span, I can just go here, then DIT, and then delete head and body, DIT. Next, let's use the other one. So we have inside, then there's also till. So this is what I said about giving out commands. So if you want to delete till, let's say this comma here, so we want to delete all this stuff here, then I can just say delete till comma, or delete till F. Next, let's see the set relative number command. So this is really useful if you want to easily count the number of lines below and above your current cursor. So it's useful when you want to delete till this line or to copy this whole import block. So let's try that out. So I could just say colon set relative number. Then you can easily see the numbers here changed. So I could now delete till 24, let's say. So 24, delete, going down. So let's put that back. And if you want to copy the whole import block, then I can just say 6, copy down, and then paste it here. Now if you want to bring back the numbers to the original one, then you can just say colon set no relative number to bring it back. Next, there's this feature to increment and decrement numbers. So if I want to increment this, I'll just say Control A. Then to decrement, just Control X. So increment, Control A, decrement, Control X. So let's start with macros. Macros are really useful and powerful. And it's really good if we can use macros to help us execute commands in multiple lines, so we don't need to do this, like to convert it to int, we need to do it manually. So what we can do is we can try to record a macro and use that macro to do it for us. So to create a macro, we can start recording one using Q, and then we choose a letter we want to bind the macro. I choose T. And then now we can record the command. So what I want here is I need to remove this first quotation, so delete, and then move one word forward and delete the second quotation, and then go down. But we need to go to the front again so that the macro can execute the commands properly again. So we can use the caret command to go in front, and that's it. We can stop the macro now, and now we can use it. So let's first try it with this line. So to use a macro, Shift A, and then the key you bind the macro. So it's working. So we want to apply it to the rest of this line. So I have here 24 lines, but I need 25. So let's say 25, Shift T. There we go. That's really cool, right? And that's just a few of it. There might be a lot of other great features that I haven't showed here, and I am by far not an expert of it yet. But I will continue to use it and learn it because of the benefit I get, like faster delete, edit, faster code traversal, just to name a few. So my tip if you want to start on Vim is to practice touch typing first if you haven't yet. Then jump straight into Vim, install it in your IDE, or use the real Vim editor. Just start with the basics like movements to traverse your code and how to edit, delete, and insert code. Then open a cheat sheet and just focus on the basics. After you get comfortable in it, maybe you can try some of the other things that I showed here, and also try to explore other commands on your own. There are a lot of resources out there by like-minded individuals. The people that share their experiences with Vim and their favorite commands is important. After that, you may want to take things a step further, like your own Vim settings with vimrc, or install awesome Vim plugins like Vim Surround. Vim Surround can help you change, delete, or add surroundings, like this for example, single quotes to some other tags. You also might want to ditch your IDEs and go for a pure Vim experience if you are up to that. And lastly, a non-serious tip, if you want to start using Vim immediately, then just buy a keyboard without arrow keys. That would help you if you want that. That's it. I will link the links and resources that have helped me along the way, as you might find that useful as well. And as always, if you like the video, please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.